How is everybody today? Starting half an hour late, but not too bad. Um, but welcome in. Hey, AJ. Look at that. Thank you for your resub. I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you're doing okay today. How's everything going? How'd your orchestra go? Did they do the your log flume piece? That's really cool. Um, but yeah, so how's everybody doing this afternoon? Today, I don't know what we're gonna do, to be honest. Okay, end of April. Oh, fantastic. Well, you'll have to keep us updated in Discord and all that. Definitely interested to hear how that one's going for you. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, yeah, welcome in everybody. If this is your first time here, my name is Brian Andrelczyk. I am a real life theme park designer who likes to build an RCT and Parkitect and teach how to build realism in the game. So we are kind of doing a toss up today because man, I am exhausted. I stayed up and watched the Formula One race last night, which was in Australia. So that was a 1 a.m. start for us. Finished at like 3, so about like 3:30, and then I just slept like trash. So I am exhausted, and I don't really know what to build, what to work on. So kind of had this as a mixed bag today as to what we wanted to do, whether or not it was even RCT. Heck, we could, build some of those wood uh, models as well, um, like Gemini one or whatever. But um, yeah, so I have my coasters map up, which is where I build just layouts. This is edition number 6. So once I fill the map, I'll start a new one. Um, so actually, we can kind of go back and look at some of the other ones. So I wasn't sure if we just wanted to like build some coasters, kind of based on suggestions from chat today, or if we wanted to work on our park. I'm still not really sure what direction our park is going in, so that's kind of a bigger challenge. But here's for example one of our coasters maps. So really, it's just sort of the build around, see what's going on, and um, work on different stuff. Hey, Extreme, welcome. How are you today? Or evening, I suppose. But what is their challenge this week? I haven't actually ever done one of those. So some of these have seen the light of day, others have not, or nearly saw the light of day. But certainly just trying to get some good layouts together. I remember doing this one. Current one is to redo a vanilla stock layout. Interesting. Could be could be fun. Um, what what options we have then? This is back when I was looking at some fairground type stuff to see what we might be able to build for a fair coaster. So doing one of the Fabry center coasters. We need like a 2x3 like 180-degree corner or something. It doesn't quite fit, but just the Wild Mouse one is too small, and then the rest of it is just too big. But when I was trying to see if it was possible to build a Galaxy type coaster, so like just a standard fairground type coaster. As far as I can tell, it's impossible to do in RCT just based on the angles and everything. Hey, things on tracks, welcome. But the Zamperla 420 standard. Yeah, it's a little bit memey as a name. Did do the Zier large Tivoli at one point with the hilariously long train and everything. But I do kind of like that redo the vanilla stock layouts challenge. That sounds interesting. Else, can you show us the gray intimate? This one here. So this one ended up going into the Tokyo Dome City Park um, for yeah, for head to head 9. Was it 9? Man, I'm really forgetting all these already. But you look at it in its final product, it actually turned out pretty nice. If you all haven't seen the that map, but yeah, the flyer was different. It I don't remember when this happened or what this one was for, but not bad. Pretty all right. Some of them hit, some of them don't. You know, I did a more or less a Ravine Flyer 2 recreation at one point, trying to get that to work, and it turns out okay. It's just, you know, some of the nuanced transitions and everything, and honestly, in RCT, it's really hard to get the pacing right on this ride. I think there you go. I think I adjusted the massing pretty substantially to get this one to actually even work and have the pacing not just totally trash. Because you got to get it back up to this like high point here after like 3 different ups, and then bring it up into the brakes again. Doesn't really work that well. Let's look at Tokyo Dome real quick, and then we can maybe open up one and see about doing one of those recreated layouts. Alright. Go. Games, head-to-head 9, round 2. Nippon Professional Baseball Championship Weekend at Tokyo Dome City. So this was a round 2 park in head-to-head 9 that Mavericks and I built with the help of others. So we have this. It's not Tokyo Dome City exactly as it currently is, but we do have the similar kind of vibe, and we have the baseball stadium there, like the real thing. And this was the start of our map where you open it up and there's a walk-off home run, and the team here is celebrating the Giants from Yomiuri. Yeah, we have all sorts of different stuff. So the Impulse here does indeed have a hold break. You can thank Zarathustra for that. We'll angle it this way. The Kinos, or Real Steel, depending on which Discord you know him from, also gave us a bunch of really cool rides for this one. So we debuted a custom swing ship vehicle. We debuted this combo observation tower / parachute tower with a pretty cool hack on that one. Hey, ride play. And then, of course, there's the Impulse here, which has a pretty fun shoestring here as the ride comes up, and it's going to hold for a second and then drop one down, and it turned out pretty neat. No agenda at the moment. We're kind of all over, just trying to figure out what to do because it's pretty exhausted today. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to work on our park, which we may still do, but and then here's our Intamin. Kind of how that's set up with the log flume underneath of it and a couple other little rides and then chops and things like that. So credit to Mavericks for a lot of the details and stuff on this one. He and I kind of did the layout on this one, and there's a lot of the rides and everything else. You know, Kinos would build us the custom ride, and then we'd kind of turn it into something. But it turned out pretty all right. We built this whole thing in like 5 weeks, I think, which was stupidly fast for me. I'm not a fast builder. The one that I kind of like is this guy down here, which if we put away view, so this one here is based off of a coaster called Backdan, which is also at the real Tokyo Dome. And it's a Gerstlauer coaster, and kind of what's interesting about this one is it's got 4 launches. So it starts like this, where it launches out of the station, kind of does its thing, and has a little mid-launch here. And then it returns to the station, and it returns to the station going the other direction. And then there's a quick show scene in the station, and then after that, it heads back out on the layout, going the opposite direction, so it goes backwards through the whole layout, including that little extra boost here in the middle to get it through the final bit. And then it backs up into the station again. So uses the entire track twice, forwards once and backwards the other time. Gives you 4 launches in total. I always thought it was a really clever idea. Pretty neat kind of thing. Funny, you can see all of our little hack elements down here below. But yeah. Oh. Yeah, and then we had our what are your thoughts on the Project Dark Coaster? Intima's doing some cool stuff lately. What's rumored there is it's pretty interesting. They're doing a lot of cool stuff with like forwards or backwards or switch tracks or whatever else. Um, I really was pleased how this one turned out. This little dark ride. Mavericks did pretty much all of the theming on this one, and Kinos built us these ETF rotating cars, which I thought was pretty darn cool. But using using kind of all of our layering and everything else, we have all sorts of different stuff throughout this whole place. But the big thing for us on this one was that all of the interiors are done. So the entirety of the map is filled from all of the different floors as you go up. See all the different shops and things like that. We nearly hit the object limit on this one, which is kind of fun for a very short time. Bring it all back up. There we go. It was fun though. Lots of new objects. Thank you, Extreme, for those. Wouldn't have been able to do kind of some of the cool things here without them. But did love the little festival stalls and all that kind of stuff. It was fun. It's a good way to do it. Hey, Fred. How are you this afternoon? All right, so let's go back to our map here. All right, let's look at a stock layout. Yeah, we were looking at some different parks. We weren't quite sure what we wanted to do today. Extreme mentioned the Dr. Dirt challenge for this week is to recreate an existing layout or one of the stock layouts into a better layout, I guess. I'm kind of curious to see which one we might want to do. Angle feet. What is this one? A lot of these that I just don't know what they are because I've never really seen them. Loop, loop, kind of weird point there. Helix up the mid course. Okay, helix up into mid course, then corkscrew, roll. Kind of an interesting one. Yeah, there's some that are not up for rescue for sure. Kind of curious on this one though. Goes back through the loop. That's going to be a challenge. Out of curiosity, I mean, I don't know if we're going to get there, but let's give it a try. This goes up to 105. Same. So that's doing the like double. Yeah, it's amazing kind of how the different ones of these vary. Um, because I've stopped paying attention to these long ago because we always do custom rides, but it is kind of interesting to actually look back and see what it is that we're trying to do. Let's do a loop here. How is this a default color scheme? Also, like this is a terrible color scheme. Uh, with Montu, current Montu, McDonald's Montu. Needs to drop just a little bit more. I think there's just a couple of stock color schemes, and that's it. Um, is kind of my thought. Um, but I don't actually know. It's a good question. If Marcel reads this later, that may be a question to ask. Can we? No, too too low. I was kind of hoping we might be able to like get through there. Bigger question is actually, are we going to be able to get back the other direction? Yeah, so that needs to have at least a straight section here. Okay. One. Means that we're not going to be able to run through here. I wonder how far we have to go on that. Well, that doesn't even get through well. Oh, it's probably off center by just a little bit. Okay. It's interesting because I always thought this was easier to. Hmm. Well, then I guess we're gonna need to figure out another spot for that, and maybe that station goes on the other side. Um, or we just come off of this one. I don't really like to drop it there again because I kind of we already are dropping it once. So let's bank this. Hey Belgian guy, yeah, we're I've heard the Dr. Dirt challenge for this week on New Element is to redo a stock layout. So that's what we're working on. Yeah, we can actually get right up against as far as that goes. That works. Let's keep guessing that this isn't gonna work, but let's try real quick. Oh, shocking. It works. Okay, that's cool. And actually that works for the um whole thing. So loop and loop, which is kind of a weird start for sure. But and then if we go out and get ourselves Oh, nice. Ooh, that's too slow. How does this one do it then? 85, because that's an 80. This is going to be way too slow then, if that's the case. Nice. It is funny though, because the 3-hour drive is kind of like, eh. But I understand that in Europe it gets you a lot of places. I mean, Jen and I drove an hour for dinner last night. I'm really curious to see how this pacing is going to be. Okay, so it's fine through there. How come ours is having such trouble? Oh gosh, that's terrible though right there. Hmm. It must be the way that the first drop is configured. Alright, so I think we're okay on our first version here. It's kind of slow still, but I'm just a little surprised by how slowly this one seems to be losing speed. I would imagine we can play with terrain. Gotta embrace the Fred version. Let's see. If I drop it by 1, does that make a difference? I mean, it's still weird to begin with because we have 2 loops in a row, but I guess it's not out of the question. Or someone could ask B&M if they wanted to do that. Okay, so that's faster then. So if we can drop this loop. Alright, so let's try that then. And what is this? What does this do? That the Cobra roll goes like through the thing, which is weird. Alright, that's fine. I can deal with that. Like the other way here. Oh. I was like, wow, that lines up really great. And then I just realized I had clearances off. Pointing. Alright. Always do those very RCT type inversions and just put the little half loop on the side here and just make it like an asymmetrical overall. Be a little jarring. Okay, so this comes up to be even with the whole thing. Might even get through. If we went the other way with the loop, we could probably do it. so it's got like a dropping twist, then the helix thing up to our mid-course brakes. Mid-course brakes want to be like right underneath the lift hill probably, because if they need to be through this one. The lowest that can go is like there. I call it that, I would guess. There's our target as far as getting to the mid-course brakes. Such a weird inversion. Such a weird inversion. Necessarily need to thread this one. We could. Yeah. Seems sort of like a standard entrance into our mid-course, and that could go up, I guess, a little bit if we need it to. Yeah, we could certainly do something like that. Upwards S bend. Yeah, potentially so. We've got. If it was a little further away, then we could kind of do this like S bend here and then wrap it around and then back up. Kind of thinking if I can put another space in here, I can actually cross the loop on that side. Go further out, see what this does. Whole thing. I had to pick the hardest one. I mean, that's that's kind of what it comes out to, because inverts are hard, especially in this game. Inverts are really hard. Get like a nice flowing version of these. Too far, and I don't think this is high enough up. It would be great to be able to visually to visually see how where your clearance envelope is. I mean, I know you can more or less do that with like blocks and stuff, but it would be kind of neat to see that as like an overlay element, so then you could better see what you can do. So here's kind of your base is here. Oh, is it? Where was that? I know which one you mean. Hey, T. Chapman. I know which one you mean now that you say it. But I don't remember where that was. Settings thing? Console. Ah, look at that. Okay. That's interesting. In general for that. Okay, so it only shows it in window? Huh. Interesting. Well, at the very least, we know we got to get it to that height if we want to get into this thing. Which we're not too far off of it, honestly. We can. I mean, it doesn't hurt to give it just another straight section. What's wrong with straight sections on an inverter, or at least an approach as this is? Right. How come that one can't get through? We're right there. Oh, that could be it then. Oh, that's hard to, that's hard to tell what's going on. Interesting. We're so close too. Like it seems that we are within. It seems that if I get to this one. Oh. Am I being stupid? Was it the scenery? Was it the scenery? It was the scenery. Oops. Oops. Alright, alright. There we go. Well, now I feel stupid. Please so. Alright. So this one has like this left right drop kind of thing. Back to instead of that left right drop, we need to look at it more like this. Maybe it does. To your point, track has come up this way. It just slightly doesn't line up, which is annoying. That would be clever. Good. at 50 there. We don't necessarily want to S-bend back across. I feel like a diagonal is important because we haven't had any yet. Just may not be like the right time for it. It's got to make that drop. At least we're kind of threaded through that one. The two loops look less strange than I thought they might initially. It still is weird, but it's not totally weird. There's also the question still of what we're doing with this station, but that's a matter for when we finish, I guess. And honestly, it might just go down the lift. We just might extend the lift hill down a little further and go that way. But curious if we can do kind of like weird turnaround thing. I do hate the clearance checks on the inverts. Just really not conducive to a good layout. That's gonna imagine the G-forces there are gonna be pretty incredible. Although actually it gets us pretty much right to where we need it to be. Just I don't like the look of it. Ooh, I was really struggling for pace there. Feels like we need to hop up there just right when we need to. Pacing going to be our biggest issue overall, it seems. Oops. How'd that happen? Alright, maybe we go the other way. See what that would look like. Funny enough, it works. We just now have the world's longest mid-course brake run. And this is not a great look overall. This is hard. Man, this is a tough one. Do we... What do we do? The other option for what do we do could also be just scrap this one and try a different one, but I don't necessarily want to be a quitter with it. Extend the lift as far as just make it taller? I'm fine with pacing, I think. I'm mostly just trying to get it around and up into this this mid-course here, which I can put in either space, so it could sit here or could sit one more over. But I'm not quite sure what happened with it. I think about Pyrenees with the helix up through the loop. Curiosity. You know, one of the things that I like about Architect is that it tells you what thing it's conflicting with when you have clearance conflicts like that. Very convenient. I think this has to be, yeah, this has to cross as a diagonal. Any other way around it. And to be smooth and still cross. And I feel like this has got to come back like that. So I feel like we're here, so we need to get from A to B in a way that doesn't look totally stupid. The threading the loop seems to be kind of important. Just based on if we're trying to do similar things to this layout, what can we do? Over to the side. Because I actually don't hate that as far as element goes. It'd be crazy intense, but it kind of looks. Or this stupid? That's probably stupid. Oh, it barely makes it too. Let's find out if it'll fit. I know you can go diagonal through a. I know you can go diagonal through the small loops, but it might be the big one you can't. I'm open for it if we can. Me that. Ought to be able to. You can probably go this way. Yeah, because it's so much wider this direction. Have to be able to get this way. All edits. No? I hate inverted coaster clearances. I really do. I can't believe it that you can't get through there. There's nothing like a diagonal break to spice up your layout overall. Then right there into the. And then let's say. So we can keep on moving. Let's say this is our mid-course break. And alright, so we're going to come off of that and corkscrew helix around. There's a 0G roll in there somewheres. Surprised that they didn't wrap all this thing around and run it back through the corkscrew. That seems like a very stock layout thing to do. True. Probably even more than it needs. Too little. Would love to be able to drop like a drop curve down into it, but I feel like that looks a little silly coming off of the mid-course break to do the curve like that. Always do one of these guys. Of course, now we're getting away pretty substantially from the original layout. Oh, it does through there. Not awful, actually. The pacing's pretty good. I just don't think you can go through it at that height and be anywhere decent. Look at this in the meantime. Go with a more modern approach and just do flat corners. Five, put a 20. No, I thought I'd have that. Have to do a little tighter corner here. Not a great looking start, but okay, so we can do regular helix down to there. Or that 0G roll is what gets us home. Makes me wonder if maybe we just hate these clearances. I hate every last part of this. 50, is it 30? I'm gonna pretend 30 will be acceptable for all. My thought is that I kind of overlay this corkscrew into that and then kind of set it up like you would an interlocking corkscrew. Actually, you know what? That may be. Do it. You could set it up like that. Then you have this 0G roll that's just suddenly very high off the ground. What a disaster this layout is. Like, this has to be. There's no way that's going to hold up. We're just going to have a really fast corkscrew over top of this thing. And then mostly I just want to do this to see what it looks like and if it's actually going to even make it. Not too terribly fast or too terribly slow. I mean, granted, we're not slowing down on the mid-course at all, but our layout. Or rid of this. Or just slightly. Do an impulse, that'd be an easy one. Okay. So kinda sorta has the same vibe-ish. Not a great layout by any means. Both of them. But you know, that's something, right? Hmm. Like, actually, I don't hate this kind of weaving finish with the 0G roll up into the finish there. That's not awful. This is bumpy. Not a huge fan of that. Having to have this little corner here. Wonder, feels like this could come up and over, then it's, yeah, I guess it's an improvement on the original, but that's not saying a whole heck of a lot. Like saying a building on fire is now slightly less on fire, but it is what it is. All right, we'll take it. Let's look at another one. Maybe pick an easier one this time. Out of curiosity, what are the stock bobsled layouts? That was one of mine. What the hell is Penguin Toboggan? That was something somebody submitted. Anyway. Improve on X. Not too much to improve on there. As far as not enough pieces to do anything decent with. That'd be a fun one. Oh. Are there any cool Flying Dutchmans? Yeah. Let's see. All right. So Phantom Spirit. Course break run like a third of the way through it, which is weird. There's another mid-course break run 2/3 of the way through. Why would you do that? Terrible. I'm gonna say no to that one. That one is too terrible to fix. Let's try, what's the next one? Evil Vultures. Calls it like it is. Okay. Drop into a roll, into little flying section there. Bad, but and just Mystic Flight. Okay. We have a look at this one. This be promising. What the hell is this? Can you imagine being stuck on the brake run upside down? The hell? Alright, let's see what we have here. Yeah, suspended might not be a bad idea. Of course, I don't know if I want another one with like shit clearances. Okay, so we have this sort of cool those rolls into the loop, then back is just a little ridiculous. Pretzel loop is cool. The fact that they even did a pretzel loop. Ooh, struggling. Mostly because I think this could be interesting. Let's see for one. Alright. Build this from the middle. Outwards. Loop. That's a backseat ride for sure, unless you get nauseous. Up with this guy. I hate that you can't, some of these inversions you can't quite build backwards. Bar. One. Yeah. Damn it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 2. There we go. There we go. Got it. Okay. Our first bit was like this helix turn into element there. It kind of feels like this could be something that newer one of these might do. I mean, it's all just your clothoid loop shaping. I mean, from a forces standpoint, it's going to be wider at the bottom and tighter at the top. The fact is, you're inside the loop rather than outside. So it's yeah. I mean, it's a similar idea for all that. 6, 7, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2. Barely even tell what's going on half of this. It's sort of like a 360 helix and what we do need to do as well, though, is sort out our station and lift. Got a number of options here. That's good. 1, 2, 3, 4. We want probably a 6-car train, I would think. Let's give it one more. Probably need to get this thing out of the loop just a little bit, because we would, I mean, thinking through practicality of this, we would want to put in some kind of station bit here. This is currently telling me we can't. Does this out at 70? We can do that on our lift hill. Just off by a little bit. Ideally, I'd love this one to be just slightly offset to it. This has got the big drop and then it comes back up again. It doesn't feel terribly... It doesn't feel terribly Vekoma Flyer to me. Kind of why I was thinking do something of this nature. And we could, I suppose, ignoring this for a minute. We could go up and do a half loop, it just doesn't feel quite right. I was thinking kind of more so this, and then two small curve turns. Do you mean the down and the up, or you mean like that, or? Yeah, I'm cool with this middle part, and we can. Where are we? Here we go. We can figure out what to do at the end, but this drop into this loop doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense. S bend before lift. I mean, I can move the whole thing over, I suppose. Um, let's figure out before we do all that if this is going to be. Case would seem to me. Push it up by one more. This is a 15. I don't know, that seems like a fine start in general. So change the first loop so it goes. Oh, yeah. What? Do that too. What happens if we go that way? One, two, three, 6. We just need to push this up a little bit. Roll it that way, and then okay. This may be our say. We don't get that first weird inversion, but we do get something out of it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. Wonder. Better. run into that, don't we? That was gonna be too much, so let's just stick it here. Keep it at this level. This works or not. I feel like this whole thing's gonna be really fast. That in a minute. What did I do this time? How did I make it awful again? Why is this just a disaster? I see, because we banked into that. Got it. Got it. Okay. Alright, we're gonna figure this out eventually. There we go. Oh, did the real one not actually touch? Oh, because we had the straight section on the other one. Got it, got it, got it. I must have had clearance issues prior. Let's see how it goes at 75. We might need to just slow the whole thing up a little bit. Who knows? So far, I'm liking this better than the first one, though. This is true. Yeah, if it that may be what we do actually. Just move the whole thing really up. Press that works. I think we can work. Easily just drop out a couple of sections here. Let me see what pacing looks like for one. Before we do anything else. That's going to be an issue, I think. One train, 6 cars per train. Let's go. The big drop then is just kind of a helix around. We got the helix covered pretty well. nice little there. Actually, this pacing is perfect so far. Ow. A custom trains for this ride. I don't know. It's not anything special. I mean, it's just the Vekoma Flying Coaster, so I would imagine it's just your standard laydown cars. I'm not sure if original game used any of those. That pacing is actually just totally perfect. It works really well, which I'm fine with. I'm just trying to see if we want to go slightly closer. We could just move the whole thing up, which is what we might do. That height 20. That means that's a shame. It'd be kind of neat if that was just one more down, and then you could get a exit path over top of it. Maybe you can. Wonder. What is that? 50? 50. There we go. Neat. Interactive element, I suppose. Alright, so we've done pretty much this entire thing with right-hand turns so far. Probably need to bring in some lefties. What does the rest of this do? Turns. Got a weird version there, some terrible pacing. Threads the loop. And gets us back home. So we do a full inversion and then give this a little bit of flying now. I was gonna say we could try and thread the loop a little bit, but we have to thread it in this direction based on the way that it rotates, which I don't think is going to quite work how we want it to. Oh well. Okay, so we have the roll there. Do a little bit of flying around our drop, which I think helps frame that and also gives us some good left-hand cornering, which we desperately need. Tons of the rolls. Mostly just curious as to what height this is. 20. Theoretically, you could kind of duck underneath this guy here. If you roll it once and then just go down one, it would take care of it. I've always liked on the Flying Dutchman coasters how when at the very end you like just kind of roll up into the brakes, but may not be able to do that here. Helix though. Oh. Always the just kind of building, and even though you know you're not going to take it, just to see how far the clearances will take it. Hmm. Roll this the opposite direction. This one can also go the opposite direction, I think. I want to go kind of have that sort of more continuous feeling roll as we get into the drop there, so that works. This would be the correct way that should go, but it actually went that way is another story. Oh yeah, I was gonna say I don't think you could do regular corkscrews on this thing, but the lower you drop down, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Doesn't look very good either. I'm rethinking this ending at the moment. I do kind of like how it works, but I'm not sold on it. I kind of want to have corner. Or this roll, I mean. Clear this because I want to go further out. Call it like there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Funny enough, you could just end it right there, but I don't think we want to do that. How many inversions do we have? So collectively 1, 2, half and half, that's 3. This is 4. All the original Flying Dutchmans had 5, which I mean we need to have 5, but it does give us a precedent. One inversion. Let's see. Hey, Desert Nessie, welcome. How are you today? We are trying to complete our very square layout. I necessarily realized it was this square, but it is what it is. These are the ones when you really need some diagonals in there because we don't have any yet, so it's no matter how sort of kind of decent this layout flows, it doesn't look good until you get some diagonals in here. Sounds like an interesting day. Oh, I'm frustrated now because if I could do if we could do flying coaster corkscrew or like actual corkscrews like a B&M, we would be able to finish this. Because you could easily do a double corkscrew right there, get it home. Ah, that would be so cool. I don't think you can do that on the B&M either, can you? There's just not even corkscrew options. Yeah, I'm gonna merge it. Yep, that's what we're gonna do. What is the proper elevation here? 5 and 5? Okay. Guess that works. Oh, that rail elevation is really different. Oh yeah, I should just change. You're right. You're right. The question is it going to actually work? Is it going to show up correctly? I don't feel like it's going to, but let's find out. Right, come on. There we go. Vertical, or what, lay down coast. I don't think it's going to work, but let's. Yeah, the Flying Dutchman does sort of have a double cork. It's on its back though. This does. Well. Well, that didn't work. Damn. Really, we can do exactly world's first teleport out. Everybody wants world's first. Oh, go. I mean, the thing is we can be stupid RCT and do these like left. Right, left. And we can do that. It just looks silly. But for lack of anything else to do, we might just go ahead and roll with it. Bless you. I don't hate it. It's just I don't know. I always feel like the flying coasters in this game just always end up looking very awkward. That pacing looks 15 slow roll through there. 45. Reasonably quick through there, not too bad. 20 something, 27. Pretzel. Yeah, versus sort of weird whatever that is. Into the brakes. Not terrible. I mean, I don't hate it. I just kind of hate those elements. Along this one side by side so we can see. Down, coast. So we improved upon that design a little bit. There's less spaghetti going on here in the middle. I don't know, what do you guys think? Seems better. We don't end up with a brake run halfway through an inversion, so that's something. Feels like it needs Nighthawk's colors. Opposite of what we just did there. The Firehawk was always classy. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Extreme. Have a good evening there. Yeah, it's reasonably realistic. We might post this one just to see how it is received. There we go. Not bad. But let's keep on going. Any suggestions for another one to try? You mentioned suspended before I left, or before you left. All of these look terrible. They all look gigantic. Is the thing? I have two lift hill? Oh no. That's weird. Problem with suspended coasters is I feel like they are much more suited for terrain. Regurgitator. Fun. Alright, so it's got a helix start here. Big lift. Little lift and drop going on, then a bigger drop. Wraps around. Okay. I don't know if we'll go too far on this one. We might not even take it the whole way, but look at this. Hey Lizard, welcome. How are you this afternoon? No worries. We've been having a pretty chill stream today since I'm just exhausted. The F1 race ended up lasting until like 3 last night, and then after that it tired. I get a lousy night's sleep, so not not the greatest, say. But hope you're doing well. Having a nice afternoon. Alright, let's uh-oh, that's no good. Hopefully hopefully they don't have it. Who was it earlier? Dan said he had COVID on stream just a little bit ago, so hopefully it's not the case and it's the one out of there. Oh boy, we're way off from front. Try and do this. Yeah, oh, that's no good. I mean, it sounds like it's kind of raging over there a little bit more than it had been, so hopefully everybody can keep safe. I can get up and back over top of that. Kind of can. So what we're doing here on New Elements Discord, Dr. Dirt is running a weekly challenge, and this week it's take one of the standard coaster layouts and improve it, so like one of the pre-built ones. So we've been working on a couple of them so far. We did this invert, which turned out poorly. Blue one being mine, gray one being the stock layout. Then we did this one, which I'm quite a lot happier with, for a Vekoma flying coaster. And now, before he left, Extreme had suggested potentially a suspended coaster. So that's what we're gonna give it a try to right now, just to kind of see what we can do with it. Okay. Kind of like back and forth bit going on. That wraps around underneath the lift hill and back up top of the thing, and then it just kind of wanders around. Thing is, this is a gigantic coaster for a suspended coaster. That's a big lift hill. Lots going on with that. Twenty-five feet is spectacularly large. This sort of come up and wrap around a little bit. I'm just not sure I'm feeling suspended coasters. They're such a weird design in general in this game. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Is trying to figure out how to nest it around that element. Of course, now we're going to run right into the lift hill. Of course we are. Always. That's like right next to this. Drops down underneath the lift. Goes on this side. I don't want to abandon this. Panic coasters I just find not super interesting. All right, suggestions, anyone, for another model or another option? Could be one we've got here. It could be something we don't have. Yeah, maybe we'll do Giga. Not do a bobsled. There's not enough options on the bobsled coaster to really do anything with it. All right, so we have Goliath. We've got Ice Chaser, which kind of has a bit of megalite going on. Kind of an interesting first element there. The Wooden has a lot of layouts. I feel like that's probably going to be a lot of people's standard go-to. Velociraptor. Is that the one of the B&M? I forget which B&M it is. This is just interesting here, how it's just long and kind of windy on the ground. Then it comes up. Barely makes it through the blocks. But does manage to clear it, although I'm going to be curious to see if this can make it back in time, because I doubt it can. Which means we're going to double stack it, so... Ooh, pacing troubles there. Now, yeah, now we're going to stack it. It's interesting, because they cleared it. It's clearly set up that that first one is going to hit it just right. But then they didn't build their second half. Alright, let's see what else. There's... oh, that's mine. Box spinner. Always Neptune's Knot, which is ridiculous. That's how many? Ride length, 3,000 feet. That's like a full twist down, twist back up. It's like a non-inverting loop. Helix there. Yeah, it's cool looking, that's for sure. It's just, I don't know how well you can recreate some of those things in a realistic way. And this one's Velociraptor. Okay, that was the one you were saying. Right. It reminds me of just like a Togo. Like it reminds me of a just Fujiyama mostly. Got big lift and drop. A little flat corner. Nice size hill. Corner. Now we suddenly discovered that diving turns exist. Left turn the ride, mostly. Now we'll hit the brakes. Now we discovered that steep turns exist. And that helixes exist, and that it's terrible. I mean, it really just the problem with this one is it's gonna just end up looking a little silly, because whatever we do is just gonna look. It's gonna mostly just be go. Okay, first let's move. Move this as close to the edge as we can get it. The biggest takeaway, I think, when you look at all these, as far as what they're doing, is it looks like every coaster or every one of these coasters done realistically just ends up being much bigger. Oh, there we go. We're back already. That was quick. Hopefully not too bad. Hopefully everybody's back in action. We're gonna pack ours off at 165, I think. Just make this even larger, even wider of a corner. So we were at 165. This is already much larger, but it's fine. What do we want to call this one? Let's give it. I used the El Loco cars when I did the last round of Go. Let's see how this holds up speed-wise. One off. That's not too bad. Nope. Oh, nope. Just drop off. Thought we might get lucky there. No dice. Flat. Slope. Now we're at 130 there, we're at 125 there, we're at 115 here. So theoretically, that should be fine. Hey, Mathematics, welcome. How are you? For stopping by. We're screwing with real or pre-built layouts today and just playing around with how we can make them more realistic if possible. Had a couple so far. We're trying for this Intamin one right now that to me reads as a Togo hypercoaster, so that's what we're gonna work on right now. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm just really tired. I was up late last night and didn't get a lot of good sleep, so we're kind of phoning it in today by doing this. Okay, a little airtime there. 28th at Alton. Hang on, let me check. Yes. At the moment, it is still confirmed for the 28th at Alton. We'll probably be there. We're probably going to get the Super Ultimate Fast Pass, whatever deal, just to let you know. But that is currently the plan. Okay, so let's maybe start to introduce a drop. Exactly, the Super Ultimate Fast Pass, #1, Super China Dragon. Get some airtime over this. Enough. All that hour. All that hour. Thing. All right, that's fair. It's so I always kind of default to getting those just even if I don't think I'm going to use them just to make sure that I have a super pleasant day. But I get it. It may be maybe that will be fine. So perhaps we can avoid it. I remember when we went to Park Warner Madrid in Spain. We had our fast pass and we were basically skipping like 3 people per line. It was not maybe not the finest, but it's yeah. I just wanted to even if there is a line, like let's say that all the lines are 20 minutes, then I'm saving 20 minutes up on a whole day, and that can theoretically add up just a little bit. That's all. I just I didn't want if you're coming to be surprised if we go that way, because obviously I wouldn't want you guys to waste your money too if you guys are coming to do the same, but or be surprised that that's what we're planning on doing. Maybe we don't drop this the whole way. Maybe this is just a drop to this point, and then now it starts doing these like diving corners here, which I think we can do. So flat here. I want to see how that runs with not bad. Not bad at all. We go flat first and then bank it. That looks like. Ah, exciting. Good. I need to start. I was gonna look at flight or not flights, hotel reservations tonight for a number of places, but I just it I ended up waking up at noon. Well, that'll be good. You know, it's one of those things where since I don't know when we'll be back, it's one of those that I'm always more willing to just say, okay, um I'm gonna book the whole darn thing and spend whatever on the ultimate super premium fast pass, and even if it's even if it's a waste of money or whatever, then I made sure that I had my best day. So we'll see. We're back and forth on that. It's one of those where I'm almost always getting those kind of no matter what, but I am totally open to hearing that, which is good news. You're actually kind of happy with how this layout's turning out so far. All right, so we had our mid-course breaks. 1, 2, 3. We need to see. Okay, this has a helix at the end. But one less. Turn the corner here. Brake run. Brake. Perhaps this would be like angled brakes, maybe. Let's see where we come off to. All right, so it's got a helix at the end. It's got a bunch of flat turns and then some diving stuff. Mostly, I kind of think we go up one more. Sorry, I'm pointing and I'm not on camera. Up one more, turn around, and then go back the other way. Oh, dog's coming to hang out, are you? Coming to hang out, dog? Lily. I can turn this without her running away. Oh no, there she goes. Lily, oh. Lily dog. Lily. Come on. No. No. There she is. Not.
Yeah, who's over this way? Hey.
There she is. There's Lily dog. There she is. Finally, Doggo Cam came into use.
Doggo Cam.
Oh. Girl. This isn't having a time?
Yeah.
Good. Little puppy. One.
Oh, she's just.
Oh, I was gonna say. That one.
Yeah, no, she.
No, she's not. As soon as you walk away, she's gone. Oh, she's ready to go. Up and going.
Mom,
there she goes.
Mom. Oh, okay.
On the floor. Just,
Yeah, she's like,
getting pets. She's a good dog. Very good dog.
Hi.
We did. We got her on camera for the first time ever. Otherwise, all the other camera sightings so far were like Bigfoot, where you like it's kind of blurry and you think it might be the dog, but you're not sure. Okay. So now the question is, do we do another flat corner like this and then kind of dive down again? Because maybe that's what happens. It goes flat, dive down. Now we're alongside the lift hill. Hey Mav, welcome. You literally just missed Lily, unless you were on just a second ago. No, you're fine. Back to Dallas. Where are you now? Oh, that's right. You were at your bachelor party. How was that? Good time? Oh, we're like one off from getting it to line up, kind of, sort of close. Oh well. Let's turn this back to continuous circuit mode so we can do testing. Nice. You'll have to tell us about it in the Discord. Which, if you have not joined our Discord, there we go. You're very hungover. That's fair. We went to this Easy Tiki bar last night and had full of very strong drinks. Mine had was like three kinds of rum, fruit juices, and absinthe, which was I'm glad that the absinthe was not strong because I don't like the taste of it. But I mean it's licorice, but not. But yeah, it's kind of neat because we knew that the place, or I had seen the place up there, but I had never really heard much about it, so we'd like to check it out. But we went up there and it was about an hour away and ate at a German restaurant that's pretty well known up there, which was good, um, really good. And then after that we went to this place, and it's kind of cool because it's another bar out in front, like a just kind of sports bar type, just outdoor space. And then there, if you walk through one of the rooms, there's just a like opening off to the side that's this other bar, and it's got kind of mood lighting in it. You go in, there's just a hostess there, no signage, no anything else, and it's just kind of funny. All of a sudden you're just in there, but it was cool. How chance revolutions are jacked on one side. So you know why that is? It's for the portability of them. So it's from the portable models where basically the two sides will lift up like this and then just swing out the other ends, and then that makes your A-frame, and so that's how it folds down onto the truck. And I granted I haven't looked at enough of the park models just to see if they just kind of lifted that design over or not, but that's kind of interesting. Starting your Paradise Island Park in RCT2. Oh, very cool. You should post some pictures in the Discord and show us how it's coming along. All right. I have not been paying attention at all to see what kind of pacing it's doing over this hill. What are we? 80 feet? Take a look. No, I believe they fold up against to the other side. It's and then it kind of like flips out, like the one side flips out to make a full one, and then it's kind of interesting how those whole things come together, and it explains a lot of like otherwise weird design stuff on portable rides. Like there's just so much cool stuff in, and yeah, kind of like a stepladder basically. And then the one side will probably fold like over on itself and kind of widen up and open. It's pretty neat. Okay, let's. This is probably going to drag a little bit over this hill. Not awful though, actually. Um, was Railblazer as bad for you as Wonder Woman was? Because I know that was a trouble, in general. Better than interesting. Do you know why? I'm kind of curious as to what the reasoning is for the whole thing. Oh, it should be okay. Your nano coaster should be fine. I think you can make it happen. If he needs any help, let us know. We can certainly offer some assistance. How was were you that was your first time on Gold Striker, right? Did you enjoy it? I loved Gold Striker. I thought it was just absolutely fantastic. Hmm. I want to hold this on itself one more time. Okay, great. How was Patriot awful? Mostly because it looks like it probably is. Um, when it was the stand-up, it was pretty awful. Yeah, there's park model top scans. I mean, it just kind of depends how permanent the park has made it. Um, or if we can just gonna be right up underneath of this one, which I don't want to be. It is the most whelming ride. Although I will say I like their invert over there at um, Great America. I think that's a good invert. Oh, it's nice to hear that it's smooth because it definitely wasn't smooth as a stand-up coaster. Like not in the slightest. Um, that's one of those rides that makes people hate stand-up coasters. Because in general, it seems that the enthusiast community has a pretty poor view of stand-up coasters. But honestly, I really like them. But that comes down to that the ones that I like are interesting as far as good layouts and just easy to ride, and also knowing how to ride the thing in the first place. You can't just jump on it and go. You got to be ready to get your positioning right. But yeah, I mean Jordan Scorcher, Riddler's Revenge, really good stand-ups. Hmm. All right, we're having trouble with this now. I don't know why I'm looking back at this one because we've kind of just foregone any uh, paying attention to any of this thing. But how about our high-speed finale here? It might not necessarily be nested, but that's a Google enough thing to say that we're just not going to do it because why would we do that? I thought Grizzly was one. Grizzly was voted in I don't know one of those polls as like the worst wooden coaster, um, and it was one of those rides where it was a coaster. Like it had no discernible forces at all. Like it was smooth, it was fine. I didn't have any issues with it, but it felt like you were sitting on a couch. Oh no. Yeah, a stand-up coaster, you gotta get it right when you get on it, or else it can be kind of a really awful experience. So like you gotta watch your knees and let just a little bit, let the thing lock, and then as soon as it locks, you stand up. So then nothing's touching down there, and you've got all the freedom, and your legs are what's holding you up rather than the seat. Hmm. Yeah, Giant Dipper's a heck of a ride. That's a good coaster. Yeah, it's pretty wild, you know, for a coaster as old as Giant Dipper is, kind of how well it still holds up. All right, now we get into the hopefully slightly bonkers section of this ride. Have a good night. For stopping by. Uh, I try and just kind of weave this one through. Yeah, more or less. Take on Velocirator. I looked at this and and I'm sure you probably had the same thought is, oh, it's Fujiyama, just not as good. And so that's kind of what I've taken from this one. Thank you so much. This is coming along. I'm happy to take a look at it. Now the question's gonna be is our block break positioned at the right spot? Because it could very well be super early, and that could be a challenge. Let's see how this kind of does its way through here. Oh, that's probably too much. Probably too much. Much as I would like to do that, it's not gonna go. Bicycle seats. I mean, typically, the parks will call them. I've seen parks call them bicycle seats, and yeah. I mean, there's not really a reference to anything else in particular on that. I mean, that's what it is. It's a bicycle seat, and the seat assembly as a whole. I mean, there's no special term for the whole thing, as far as that goes. Mister ends up in a pool, you'll be in for a bit of a shock. Right. Let's see. So we're nearly done. Nearly. We just need to get it to line up this one. Oh, I can get away with. What is this coming up? 70? Probably going to be too much. But let's see if we get lucky. Let's see if we can get a little bit lucky here. If we can, then we'll roll with it. If not, then we can try again. So, first section I'm pretty happy with. Second section is definitely like a mess of track. Okay. A little bit slow overall the elements, which is fine. Fujiyama in general, the real one that we're basing this off of, has some very weird pacing. Okay. So we're gonna have a pretty slow climb over top of this. Alright, safe travels. See ya. Let me see ya. Thanks for stopping by. Ah, that's too slow. Darn. Thought we'd make it. Oh well. Hmm. We can always wind it. I still like the idea of crossing this before we get to that point. Really enough, that I see that hits that hill right there. Okay. Can we clear this hill? Not. This is at 30, and can't really go any higher there. Well, it's proving to be a challenge as far as just the ending goes. I'll always give that just one more straight section, which would, I think, allow us to do this. Slightly too low there, but we can stick our nose out here a little bit. I don't want to see what this is going to look like just we hit towards the end. Let's see if we can get up to this height again. I don't think we can. That's 70, so no, we're not going to get to that. But we could get to here, I'm certain. 35, 45, okay. See if we can get up to 50. Now let's come back here and give ourselves some blocks on this, which is, it looked like it was already going pretty slowly here, so we might be okay as far as this goes. I'm going to wide open. Block breaks. Just 3 trains. Alright, let's see what happens. I also want to see how long this is. Japanese speed lift hill. Alright, so we got our big drop to start. Max out at 71. Not bad. Okay, so now we start introducing the diving corners. Ooh, I really slowed it down. This is going to be a challenge, I think, to get this one clear before the next one hits. This just now coming off the lift hill. See, we're nearly to the home stretch. This last section should be relatively fast, but still it's got a lot of snaking to do. Alright, yeah, it's fine. We are good. Actually, that's timed pretty darn well, because we've got, that one just got through, and he'll be nearly into the station by the time this one comes around. Now, granted, this one would have a load time associated with it, but it's not awful. So yeah, this one, assuming no load time, that works okay. Well, there's our take on Velociraptor, I guess. It's not quite the same, but still feels like we're doing similar things. Alright, so let's take a look at something else. What do we think? Time twist. I don't remember Lunar Launcher as being kind of ridiculous. I mean, there is something somewhat charming about some of the earlier layouts. Like, this one's cool in the fact that I like that it launches up this little loop and then you get this nice gigantic loop underneath. I mean, the layout's still terribly ugly, but it's got a nice, I got a nice vibe to it in general. All right. Liberty Loop. Fine. Helix. Great. Yeah, that's very odd. It is somewhat pleasing to see the nested helixes like that. That's kind of nice. Frightmare. Wasn't Frightmare the invert in RCT1? We get a dive loop, the Batwing wraps up to the mid course. Holy cow, look at this, like 1, 2, 540 dropping helix. Do this roll. Ooh. Like, I'm actually sort of on board with this layout for the first half of it. But man, after that, it's pretty horrendous. Atomizer. Atomizer doesn't look awful. Alright, so 270 drop, that's weird. That's kind of an interesting start there with the... I mean, I don't hate it. It's unique anyway. Wraps around to... I don't even know what this thing is doing, this climb and corner. It's interesting, that's for sure. I feel like if any of them are to be played with, though, I think this Time Twister one is worth maybe looking into. We got a loop, we got a Cobra roll, hill, helix into a 0G roll. Like, it's a this one is legitimately kind of a cool layout. Feels like we could do more with it though, doesn't it? Also makes me wonder if maybe a larger loop option is yeah. 5. Quarter loop. Trouble we have threading this. Really not awful. Ah, sounds good. Yeah, definitely post them there in the Discord and take a look. Oh, did they? With the large loops? Yeah, once I get done with this, I'll kind of look forward to browsing through the thing and see what they've done. That's not going to be tall enough, I don't think. 80, 85, yeah. More. Not necessarily something that I wanted, but okay. And so one, we could put it underneath the station. It's not. I don't really hate that. There you go. Hey, welcome back. Shouldn't you be asleep? Isn't it like really late over there? Yeah, so we've done. Oh yeah, I guess that's not too bad. So we did the Velocirator as a Togo, just over 6,000 feet. So we could have used that on the any contest or Grand Tour contest. That one round. That was the only other one that we did in the meantime, and now we're looking at this guy just as a larger option. Or down. Although 10 p.m. From my trip planning so far for the UK, it makes me wonder what is even open at 10 p.m. Because with all the parks and everything being closed by whatever 4 p.m., 5 p.m., it's um it's just kind of strange. So, like I hope some of the restaurants are open till like 8 or 9. At least give us something to enjoy. Okay. And not when we're there. We're there. The park closes at 5. Just so ridiculous. Not as bad as Alton closing at 4, but still not great. Exactly. That's what I'm looking forward to. Is something good like that. Feels like it wants another inversion. 1, 2, 3, 4. Feels like it's missing a corkscrew or something. Maybe not. Like it needs to have a helix that comes out the other direction or something. I guess let's at the very least see what our pacing looks like. Strange B&M layout. it's weird to me just not build with diagonals just in general, because I feel like it always makes the layouts feel a little bit more bland or a little bit more, I guess, rigid. Like, the key to a flowing layout is absolutely diagonals. Right, good pacing through there. Might mean the rest of this layout's gonna be quick, but let's see. Add through there. Pretty good speed for that. Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. Really? Maybe we can do something like you got a layout for me to critique. How do you want me to do it? I will critique for you, or what do you want me to do with it? It feels like it needs to do something other than just end. There you go, that feels slightly better. Block break up here so that I can clear it faster. Oh, 13s here just to that okay. Not entirely sure what's going on here with this color scheme. Do the inversions in. It's really stupid. Looks really stupid. I feel like weird paint jobs like that can look good on old Aero coasters and things like that, but when you put it on a B&M, it just looks silly. We'll call this a newer B&M because we don't have the pre-drop on it. It's just kind of there. Yeah, that's true. Dominator doesn't look awful, I think, because it's relatively the same color family. Like, it's not too far on the color wheel to say yellow to orange, or like Green Lantern where it's green to yellow. It's just, I don't know. To me that just seems like not a good look. But I didn't mind the old Carolina Cyclone at Carowinds. I know it just got repainted this year, but it was like blue track, but then the loops were orange and the corkscrews were yellow or something. Like, that wasn't bad. Fantasia Special is pretty terrible. The one that's got like a bunch of different colors. But yeah, if they blended it, it would look better. Accelerator kind of grew on me a little bit. Like, it's still stupid, but I don't know. There's a bit of me that likes that weirdness. The fact that this can get through pretty much that entire layout before the next one gets up there is pretty cool. That's not awful. Okay. That's the, like, XL version of Time Twister, I guess. Alright, what else? I'll do one more. Why not? What do you feel like? I did try Suspended Coaster earlier, Extreme, and it did not turn out nicely. I abandoned it. Halfway through, it was not working out. I think all the Togos have corkscrews in them. Yeah, a wooden coaster's probably not a bad idea. Alright. See what we've got. Winnow. Storm. Comet. I do kind of like this, how it wraps around the helix, or has the helix that wraps around the drop there. That's cool. To stack like 3 tracks either side. I mean, it's still a pretty average layout, but that is kind of neat. Also, the fact that we're getting after a little bit of an outward banked corner here, that's cool. Let's let it run. I'm just curious to watch it go. Oh man, building a hope. A couple of those outward bank bits. One there. All right, not awful. Driftwood. That's more of a cyclone type layout, but pretty straightforward. Oh, nice. I'll have to check that out. Fire trap. This sort of gravity group. Glowing embers. Glowing embers feels very GCI. This was always a cool one when I was a kid. I remember enjoying this one just because it had the 2 crossing lifts and it had the loops and everything. I thought it was very cool. But Birdwood, Joy, Lightning, that was me. Garou. Rampage. Even the Robin Hood. Rough Rider. A lot of the wooden coasters are kind of interesting because it seems like they either take one of 2 forms. Either it's a kind of square that's a bunch of just really messy corners and everything, or it's this like cyclone, very tight rectangle with a bunch of hills and flat corners on it. Thing. Wood. Twisters. Whiteout's kind of neat the way that it has the. Alright, let's see. Wild Mountain Train. Alright, wood chip. Woodwind. What was the one? That's super compact. It's amazing how tight that is. I kind of want to play with this one. Ugly Twisters. Actually, that could be kind of funny. Is do that as a rework. Yeah, we can always look at the Haunted Harbor one here at some point because it is kind of unique. Two, three. Wanted to be across the whole thing. Huh? Just wrap around itself 3 times and finish. Kinda. Do something better than that. Hmm. Great to figure out how to reverse directions on the thing so then it can go kind of back the other direction. Five, two might be too small for that. Ah, Marcel, hey, what's going on? How are you today, sir? You guys have a good stream? Were you working on Diamond Heights again, or what did you have going today? Welcome in, everybody. My name is Brian Andrelczyk. I'm a real-life theme park designer who likes to play RCT and Parkitect and all those sorts of things, and teach how to build realism in the game. So we're doing coaster layouts today. Wow, 2,100 guests in one queue line. That's impressive. What kind of ride was it for? We have been working on taking some of the existing layouts and trying to work those into more realistic designs. So, a coaster with the. That's cool. That sounds really neat. I'll have to look and check that one out later. Yeah, so we've been taking existing stuff and trying to make a more realistic layout out of it. And welcome Zapdos 23590 and Taken Twins. Thank you guys for following. So we started out today with the Empire Express invert, which was just absolutely horrendous because of the 3 height clearances versus the 2 height clearance. It's one of those things that just really kind of irks me after a while, trying to get clearances right. Like, I don't know how long we spent trying to thread this loop, but it was just in any kind of a reasonably decent way. I'm not really happy with how this turned out. We got the curving drop, we got the 2 loops, we got the cobra roll. Because I don't know, I see this as sort of a cobra roll, I guess. Then we have a turn up into a diagonal mid-course brakes, and then the end of this one's got a corkscrew, some spaghetti, and then a fast roll of some kind that just doesn't ugly. So we did a little 0G roll here. Not too bad. It's the pacing is a slight improvement on the real one, because the real one's got just absolutely horrendous pacing, but made it a little more realistic. As it turns out, not too many of the pre-built models really work on using diagonals and things like that. That's really what improves your flow, or just the look of these layouts in game. So it makes them all look a little boxy, but we tried to bring some stuff into it and make it look a little bit better. Oh, and thank you, Flazuki, for your follow as well. Yeah, it's not bad. I don't hate it, but it's not the most convenient of layouts. Brake run ends up getting a little funky through there. Cool, I'll take a look at those a little later. Thanks for posting them. And then we had this guy, which actually I think this one might be my favorite of the day so far. So we took the Vekoma Flying Coaster Mystic Flight from the pre-built section and did it in a little bit wider layout. I think anytime you build the pre-built ones in a more realistic way, you're going to end up with a wider footprint, just because to build them more realistic just means kind of stretching in general, just to make the things flow a little bit better. So this one, the only annoyance I've got here is the double cork thing at the end, where it goes down rather than up. I would have much rather had like a proper corkscrew on this, but that's not a piece that's available in the game. Oh, Marcel, I had a question from chat that came up earlier in the day, and I didn't know the answer to it, but I bet you do. When you select a coaster and the default color scheme comes up, and it kind of changes depending on when you select the coaster, like it can be a couple of different options. Are those just preset things in the game, or is it how are those figured? Like the fact that if I start a Wild Mouse right now, it's going to be blue and yellow, or blue and yellow. So yeah, Backrack, you asked that one. Well, okay. Preset color schemes, because there's some that are just really terrible. Like I'm curious to know, like some are better than others, but there's some that we look at. When we started the invert, it was like brown on brown with white rails, I think. It was very, very strange. But no, it's very, very interesting. But anyway. Oh, and OP, thank you for that follow as well. So anyway, we finished this one. I tried to do a suspended coaster, but it went absolutely terribly, and it was not great. So then we did a Velociraptor here, and I see this as a Togo hypercoaster like Fujiyama at Fuji-Q Highland. So that's kind of sort of what we built. Because it's interesting, because looking at this layout, it feels like somebody who's discovering coaster pieces as they go. Like the first half of it is like flat corners and drops, and then partway through they're like, oh, we can do banked corners that are on a slope. And then later on it's like, oh, we can do steep corners. And then at the very end they're like, oh, there's a helix piece. It's really strange to me, because it seems like they just keep kind of figuring out how the ride pieces go together as it comes further down. But yeah, I don't know. It's very strange with that one. I mean, I'm sure objectively gameplay wise it is. It's just from a realism standpoint, it's terrible. So that's what we tried to work on for this one, and I'm sure that this one has much worse stats than this one does. No, we didn't even test it. But to be fair, we haven't looked at any of our stats just yet, because we just haven't. But I am pretty happy with how this one turned out. If you're familiar with Fujiyama and Fuji-Q Highland, it's a really bizarre hypercoaster that's shockingly large and has some really weird elements that aren't on any other hypercoaster. But it's a lot of fun. So this one, between this one and the Vekoma Flyer, I'm pretty happy with how these turned out so far. So they definitely went all right. But yeah, I'll run this real quick and see what those stats are because I'm curious. And then we did a version of Time Twister here, the little guy, as a larger coaster. And this one probably ended up being the most accurate, I suppose, of layout wise. It's all pretty much the same thing, just layout smoothed out a little bit. I will say for a pre-built coaster, this one may be one of my favorites because it's probably the least or the most flowy of all the elements and everything, and just looks the nicest. The rest of them always just look sort of jarring, and it's like there's no real thought behind where the layout's going to go next. It just kind of goes wherever the clearances allow it. But this one feels like it's thought through a little bit. I do like the interlocking loop and helix. I think that turned out really nicely. Using that unbanked to banked curve piece, which is kind of fun, but for realistic layouts, you just that piece can't really go on your layout unless it's on a really slow section. But hey, it works, right? You're not trying to build the next B&M, so I think you're doing all right. I was pretty happy with how this one turned out. At least kind of scaled up. And then when you guys came, we were playing with all right, 8, 5, very high, medium, very high. Out of curiosity, let's see what these are together. All right, so 78, 71, 29, 17. 1 minute 42, 2 minutes 49. That's mostly the lift hill. Got another 200 feet on it. More positive G's, stronger negative G's. Definitely stronger lateral, I figured that. Airtime less, but that's not surprising. Less drops, and then larger. Air high, very high, high. Interesting. I mean, it's been so long since I played this game where stats matter. So I just never really pay attention to them. So anyway, it's kind of interesting to see how that worked out. Oh, and thank you, More Cowbell and IQ Destructor for those follows as well. So the last one here that we were messing with when you guys came on in is Fire Trap. It kind of reminds me of it feels to me like a Gravity Group layout, and it has that definite Gravity Group feel to it. Let's look at an early one maybe. So let's give it a 6-car PTC train, and I can run this. Is it gonna catch the lift? Yeah. So the biggest issue with this one is that this guy is just a bunch of left-hand turns, and shit, is it all left-hand turns? Oh, it is. Wow. Huh. Well, there you go. Left-hand turn the ride. So we're gonna try and do it with less of that. Not at 75, we aren't though. Start here. We're gonna see what we can do as far as just giving this something a little more interesting to work from. Can't go up, we can't go under. That's not gonna work quite right. But we'll probably do do something like this. Alright, let's make this a little more aggressive on top. Rid of our up there. Okay. It's not bad, a little bit close there. If we can give it a slightly, we can back it up just a little bit, I think we'll be alright. It'll give it a little bit more speed on the drop there, but that's okay. And there's something to be said for the flat sections that can go together. Don't really want to sure if we can figure out a way to make that work without having to just end this one quickly. So go backwards. We actually built the flying coaster one pretty much entirely backwards, just because it helped make a lot more sense. That way, we'll do this. Okay. I just need to be slightly higher up. And honestly, it's one of those things that I find to be more useful in this game than pretty much any other coaster game, like Parkitect and those kind of things, is the ability to build backwards. And granted, the pieces of this game help you a lot more than the pieces of other ones, because you can actually do this, but it's just so necessary to build a nice flowing realistic coaster, to be able to build backwards from your direction of travel, or just kind of start anywhere. I mean, when we started that Vekoma coaster, the flying one, we started with that pretzel loop around the station and brakes, and then kind of built in both directions to get what we wanted. Yeah, exactly. Take it twins. It's just, to me, that's the most useful, or one of the most useful tools here, when you're doing coaster builds. All right, so we're through the first, and we did achieve our goal of having not a left-hand corner. So we got one right-hand corner on there. Now we're theoretically going back the other direction, which is good. What did this one do? It's got, so basically we go left, then we have full circuit left, another half circuit left, and then just kind of comes up into the non-existent brake run. Okay, we can do that. So we do have, wondering if this is going to be our alley here. We do for it. Actually, depending on how this shapes up, we might be able to do a little bit of, or not. Right in the way. Okay. Not for us then. Actually, could be for us. Is that requires us to put a straight piece right here at the end, which is not something I like to do. It's just not, doesn't give you a very flowing layout to do it. Yeah, extra large turns. As we get to the point where it's now possible to add in new elements in the game, my wish list grows. But beyond medium inversions, which I know the user X7 is working on right now, I would love to see larger corners. Just the ability to do like a 6 by, well, it's 8 by whatever, just but to be able to do big helixes and big just corners in general. I mean, I have very little use for the actual helix in game, but the just corners in general, or diving corners, or a an angle that's not, so like a medium slope angle. If I could just do that, because it would be kind of wonderful to be able to have a drop that's not like, you know, this kind of thing. That I could do that as half the size. That would be amazing. But you know, certainly hopeful for future things, but always I'll believe it when I see it. But some of the examples that X7's posted are just pretty wild. Seeing some of those, it really is. You know, I've said that on stream before. It's amazing to me who I got RCT1 the day it came out. I remember as a kid coming home in the car, reading the box and all that, and I played the heck out of it. And you know, I could probably credit it as one of the things that sort of spurred my interest in theme parks in general, and taking that to now I have a career doing theme park stuff. So it's one of those things that it's kept me going as far as this kind of stuff goes, and it's just kind of amazing to be able to look at this community now that's still growing. For one, like, new people are showing up every day, which is just super cool. Like, I love that. And seeing kind of new developments and just different people working on different things, and it's just so cool. So it makes me excited that we're at that point where, you know, people are still finding new things and all of that. How did I get my first game? RCT1. It came in, gosh, it might have been Circuit City, which, if you're from the US and you're old enough, which most of you probably aren't, that was a kind of like a Best Buy type electronics store. But that's where you went for your games, because there was no Amazon, things like that at the time. So it came in the big box. It was like, you know, that big, and had the big CD, and it had the full guide. Actually, I think I have the guide somewhere here. Actually, all right, let me fiddle around for a minute. I think I do have it. Hang on. Pardon the interruption. Aha. Nope, that's it. Here it is. The original guide from RCT1. So, once upon a time, you actually got guides with your games. Here, let's take over. Whoop. So, might be worth something in the future, but yeah, way back when. So John Wardley actually wrote a piece here for this. It's pretty darn cool. But yeah, like it actually had full on like information for like how do you load stuff, what do all the icons mean. There's so basically it did the whole tutorial piece just manually, like Click once to build your first piece of station platform. Now move the mouse pointer. I know John Wardley through a friend. I've not met him in person yet, but I'm hoping to in the next couple of years to at least have dinner with him and just talk through it. But I love this. So each of the sections had their own kind of thing. Come on, webcam, you can do it. You can do it. Focus. Focus. It's actually not Rumi, although he probably does too. I know he knows Chris Sawyer through. Come on, webcam, you can do it. You're not. Yeah, so it's kind of neat because each one has different, like there we go, look at that, close enough. So it's got design tips and like just details and general information on it. Helps installs. Got queue information. I mean, this is a 60-page booklet. 60-page booklet. Still have the original RCT, separate CDs for both. It's fantastic. I love it. Yeah, somewhere in here I've got all that. So it's funny. So we go from this to this, which was the smaller version, but still came in a thing. I remember it was a smaller book at the very least. But this one actually has roller coaster history at the beginning, which is kind of neat. Interesting. I haven't paged through these in years. This will be interesting to see. So they call out real roller coasters here at some point, and I'm be very interested to see which ones they call out. So we have Deja Vu here. I know it's blurry, but so Deja Vu. All right, so that doesn't exist. Look for this ride in the Six Flags Magic Mountain scenario. Nope, not anymore. And Real Roller Coaster Medusa. I guess it's all the ones that they have in here, yeah. So Medusa. Yeah, this is all part of the tie-in for all that. Here's Vertical Velocity. Hey, Insert Joke, welcome. Thanks for hanging out. Also, I'm Right Hearted and Cosmo Shep. Thank you guys both for joining. But yeah, that's what I'm kind of curious to see is. I'm guessing they aren't going to have that in there because they. Alright, there's X. Yeah, it must be all just the tie-ins for this. I'm curious to see if they have any of the Six Flags Belgium or Six Flags Holland coasters in here. Here's Titan. What else? Sample layout. Oh no, that sample layout is so terrible. Look at that. It's just awful. Webcam, you can do it. You can do it. Oh, you can see it still. Editor elements. It still has a lot of the details in there, at least, so it's, I'll give it credit for something. What else we got in here? There's the RCT2 Wacky Worlds expansion pack stuff. It describes the scenarios for you in it. There's no warning not to buy it because it's terrible, though. Could be. What else do we have in here? I know I have all the CDs somewhere. I know more or less they're all here. Let's see here. Here's RCT3 soaked. I do have that. I won RCT1 through an RCT2 building contest on RCT2.com back when it first came out. I played RCT3 for like 2 weeks and then never played it again because I really didn't like it. RCT2 was always where it was, but yeah. So I did get the expansions. I just never really used them. We got that one. What else here? For the coaster games. Oh wow. This is an old one. Ultimate Ride Coaster Deluxe. Did anybody have the Ultimate Ride series? Remember the Ultimate Ride first one was okay, and then Coaster Deluxe was way better. Maxwell, I don't think I have the game, but I remember it being a thing. Oh wow, all the shortcuts on that. Impressive. Look for the Disney edition of Ultimate Ride. It's the only 3D game that brings the magic of Disney to your coaster creations. Interesting. What else? Oh, here's the original Ultimate Ride. Wow. All right, this one's probably going to be older than a lot of you guys in chat. Original Oregon Trail book from Mech and on DOS. See if there's a date in here. September 1996. All right, let me hear it. Who is younger than this pamphlet? 1996. Wow. This is interesting. Wow. Great. 1987, but oh, it's got a whole map and everything. Look at that. Pretty legit. Here's one that is interesting. Did anybody ever play Hyper Rails? It was sort of like the knockoff of No Limits. And I actually really liked it because it had stuff that No Limits didn't have at the time. It was node based, so it was like sort of kinda like No Limits, just not nearly as detailed. But you could do kind of similar stuff on it. But pretty substantial. Book 2, looking through it, customizing a coaster. The 50-something pages. Oh wow. The quick reference guide on the back that a little bit much. Thanks. Thanks for the puke redemption there. We don't have the stream integration going these days, but I think we can at least make the nausea to the max. I don't even know if we have guests in this park, do we? Couple. There we go. We'll make some nausea to the max, and they're gonna have a rough time. Oh, you can't even see that, can you? No faces in the way. There we go. There they are, having a bad time. Anyway, we'll get back to this in a minute. But go. What else we've got here, just out of curiosity. NASCAR Racing 4, which would have been, when was this? 2001. 2001 there. Sims expansion. Microsoft Train Simulator. I loved Airport Tycoon. I don't know if anybody played this one because I don't think it went very far because the thing was like full of bugs and it was just absolutely terrible. You couldn't even get through a certain amount without it just crashing or doing whatever. But it was just a lot of fun. It was a good time. But I did enjoy this one. When was this? This was 2000. Here's Original Railroad Tycoon. That was 1999. It was nice back when they actually made legit things like this. Oh, this is another old one. Sim Tower, Original Sim City, and Sim Isle. This was, when is this from? $1997 on this one. Look at the size of this thing. This is, there are, not including the index, just as far as information goes, there's 107 pages in this guide, which came with the game. Can you imagine getting a user manual for this now? Nowadays, you just download it from Steam and you pop in the game and they're like, okay, figure it out. But like this talks about just all the different stuff. Sim Tower was my jam though. I loved Sim Tower. That was a fun game. What else we got? Railroad Tycoon 2. Original Zoo Tycoon. That was a fun one too. Honestly, my Tycoon games of choice were always RCT and then Railroad and then probably Zoo right after that. I did like Zoo Tycoon. And then hotkeys for Marine Mania expansion pack. Here's go to Zoo Tycoon stream. Maybe we'll do that sometime. That could be fun. I have to imagine we need the mod scene is pretty interesting for that one. Because I never did get into modding for it like I did with RCT with like custom scenery and hacks and stuff, but that could be kind of interesting. You know, I never got into Transport Tycoon 2. I would Transport Tycoon, not 2, but I would love to do that, and I know it's open is an option now. And I downloaded it a while ago. I just never really got into it. But here's Original Myst for those of you who liked frustrating puzzle games. I was okay at it, but at some point I ended up looking up stuff. Graphics for this were always just way ahead of their time. When was this? This is what year? 1994. Wow. That's wow. 1994. That's older than I would have thought. I swear I was a little bit older by the time I was playing that, but I don't know. More Sims. Another one of the Myst franchises. I never really did get into this one. It was like I think this one was meant to be like a multiplayer kind of thing back before like MMORPGs were a thing. But oh, here's the Age of Empires 2. Looks like research tree maybe. Got a whole like got a whole thing. That's pretty cool. I like the artwork on that. That's very cool. You can actually like it focuses. Gonna focus maybe? Maybe? Oop. No. Ah well. But yeah, it's kind of amazing. The only reason I have all these here is because my parents dropped off just a bag of crap from in my closet a couple months ago, and I couldn't ever bear myself to get rid of these. Yeah, here's the Age of Empires expansion pack book, but yeah, this has got all sorts of just information like strong versus weak version, upgrades, detailed information. Wow. Anti 185. Yeah, it's kind of crazy seeing some of the older stuff. Yeah, that's appears to be the whole thing. I know I've got the CDs somewhere here for a lot of these guys, but must be. I think they may still be packed away. But yeah, it's a nice little time capsule of just old brochures, things like that. I actually have the box for the original box for RCT1 back in my parents' house because I could never bring myself to throw it away, just because it seemed like such a classic thing and a thing that was such a part of my childhood that it was I couldn't just get rid of it. So there, but at some point, you gotta make room for things, and as you can see, I'm full of things. Any other interesting game things? It's all just poster stuff instead. Thanks, Visual Sensations, and I don't know if I said thank you to Ryan Red Fox and Rampant Leaf too for those follows. Thank you guys all for coming and hanging out for a little bit this afternoon or evening or wherever your time zone is. Let's shrink back down. There we go. All right. Well, in the meantime, our little coaster here has been running around. See if we can't finish this up to some extent. Okay. So we're basing this one off of this little guy. And let's see if we can get a good layout. I think it's just one too far. Because ideally, I'd like this to be hooked up right against here. I mean, we can always do the old standby of do it unbanked and then bank into this, which is fine. So I know some people aren't super huge fan of doing it that way because it doesn't necessarily look the best, but I'm actually okay with that. Let's bank this and then flatten it on the hill. That'll look a little bit better. See how our speed management is. Pretty good. We've gone a long way though without dropping or climbing corner. We have flat corner here, flat corner here, flat corner all the way around. So that means I want to do something else for that. Get over this, we can. Good. Trying to think about eventual finishing the layout. So we can always put one in the center, perhaps. We have one more slot, essentially. But the challenge is going to be getting over top of this guy. It's interesting thinking back to the Tycoon games and all that, because there was a while where that was like the thing, where probably the early 2000s, where it was you had RCT, then Railroad Tycoon, like that was Railroad was probably one of the first ones, and then RCT and Zoo Tycoon, Transport Tycoon, then there was Golf Resort, Ski Resort, because Activision was cranking them out at the time, like just kind of sort of okay games. But we had those. I remember, oh, was it? There was like Prison Tycoon. There was Airport Tycoon. We're having a fast food tycoon. I have a lot of the old ones. I ought to see if I can install them one of these times, and maybe we'll have them like we could do like a classic tycoon stream, maybe. Um, yeah, Theme Hospital. I never played that one actually. I remember when 2 Point Hospital came out that they said it was sort of the successor to Theme Hospital, but I never played either of those. Um, that may be a thing, but that could be a fun future stream for us to put in Dino Park Tycoon. That's an interesting one. I don't know if I've heard of that one. Hey, Thunderbird, welcome. I don't really want to curve back the other direction. Hmm. Yeah, it did seem like there's a lot of just fun humor in 2 Point. I wouldn't mind playing that one of these times. Because that came out right around the same time as uh oh, what's it, the Planet Zoo, which I did Planet Coaster. That was just it takes too long for, unfortunately, for Planet Coaster, so I kind of give that one a pass. But I would not mind at all to get into Planet Zoo. Now, granted, it probably takes just about the same amount of time, but would be kind of nice to give it a try. Let's do that. Lock break. So this is theoretically not enough space for a brake run, which is totally understandable, I think. Um, but yeah, the problem for me was to do. I do theming beyond like just pretty heavy theming and stuff, and for me to build out a regular or your full size map in this, let's call it a 100, like 200 by 200 map in this game, is gonna take me 200 exaggeration. Let's say 160 map in this game is gonna take me on average like 2 years at least, like 2 real life years to build that out fully. Planet Coaster, it would be, gosh, 4 or 5 times that. When I was just starting out with Planet Coaster, I tried to do a building at the same kind of detail level that I would in RCT. So it was like a little kind of Tudor manor house kind of thing. It was maybe to RCT, it was the equivalent of a, I don't know, like a 4 by 7 building, and um, it took me 7 hours to do one building. And granted, in RCT, it can take me 1 hour to do a building as well. But at the same time, it's only 1 hour, not seven. So it's just a challenge to try and get all that done. But it's interesting for sure. You know what? I wonder actually. This could be more interesting with the Timberliner trains from Space K. Let's do the 6-person ones, and then that way I can actually get us a brake run here in the station. There we go. Like more of a more modern take on a compact design, perhaps. All right. How well the pacing is. Much lighter trains. Not too bad. A little slow there. Little slow there. Can actually get up into the brakes. Barely. All right, let's make one adjustment. Let's say we want to do block brake here. Station one more tile. Let's go up to 8 cars. I enjoy seeing good work in Planet Coaster, but I feel like RCT2 is more accessible. And to me, RCT2 remains the most functional of the RCT games. Certainly, RCT1 you can see quite a lot of, but RCT3 with some of the custom scenery could look pretty decent until you saw some of the guests, and then it just looked terrible. Um, but RCT3 was never really my look overall. It just looked. It was a 2D game that was forced into 3D, and it made all the angles look weird and kind of funky like that. The benefit of having the your four orthogonal directions on this one is that you can make things look smooth and you can kind of force it, and for everywhere that you can hide it pretty well. So that's definitely a benefit, I think. All right, so there's definitely not as compact as we're going to get here, but there's no way we were going to get that anyways. Yeah, I get that. I mean, that seemed to be the biggest benefit of RCT3 was being able to actually ride your coasters if you wanted to. For me, that really didn't do a whole heck of a lot in the game, so I never really did. But all right, so I think that's looking at what we did today. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 examples of existing coasters that were kind of redone, and then just playing around with some other stuff like we didn't build this one today. This was just happened to be on the map. I probably ought to save that. Did we freeze it? Oh, we might have frozen it. Okay, good. Really pissed if it was. Traveling at 0, broken down. It just looks cool when it's running all the trains at the same time. There we go, all 4 moving at the same time. A nice German fair kind of stuff going on. Yeah, not bad. Other things quite work out. Vekoma hyper, or well, looping coaster, I guess, for anybody who's entering Darklink's monthly contest. This month is Vekoma coasters, new generation Vekoma coasters, which are actually surprisingly difficult, and it's kind of been interesting seeing the comments so far from people entering that contest in the challenge of building one of these. They are actually really hard to do in a decent looking way. So especially in this game where we don't have quite all of the elements and everything. Home back rack, you mean the red B&M? This one here, or the other one, the one that had the blue supports? Or this one? This one here was a take on coaster. The idea was just try and get a Cobra roll kind of wrapped symmetrically around a brake run. So there were 2 different options that I had put together for I forget who was looking for this on New Element a while ago, but just trying to put together sort of that classic B&M looping coaster feel while still fitting it into a pretty tight space. So we did this one, and then this one had a mid-course brake run on the diagonal here, so we'd have to shoestring that if we wanted it to be functional. Yeah, the one that wasn't finished was a launch Vekoma. It was an attempt at something different, but it just wasn't working out, so I abandoned it. So there was that one, and then this one was the other option that had more of a regular traditional mid-course brakes. And actually, I kind of liked this one. For whatever reason, I liked coming out of this the corkscrew here, rolling into this little airtime hill, and then kind of cruising down and having that head chopper before the brake run. I kind of liked that. But anyway, that's pretty much it. So I think we're gonna call it for the day. I think today's winner ends up being probably this one. I think this was the better one, but yeah, we'll post some of these on New Elements Discord. If you're not on New Elements Discord, nedesigns.com is kind of my home base for RCT stuff. It's pretty high quality themed custom scenery and all that sort of thing. But on the Discord, the user Dr. Dirt holds a kind of weekly contest where it's just random build challenges. And this week's build challenge is recreate one of the standard stock coasters in the game in a nicer way. I read that as more realistic way. So that's what we did pretty much all of today. Because I was too tired to want to do our park that we've been working on. Actually, I will though, for everybody who has not been hanging out in the stream before, we can jump over to our park real quick just to kind of see how it's progressing along. Haven't done anything since our last stream, so nothing new here. But this is our park we've been building on stream for the last 3 months or so. So kind of doing it once every week more or less for about 4 hours, and I think we're at like, I don't know, 28 or 32 hours overall now on the project. So it's slowly getting there. It's themed to colonial America. We've been kind of working on the Boston area here for a little while, so we're in the Boston Tea Party. Teacups Ride was the more recent design, and there's plenty of other stuff. So theoretically, the next time we stream RCT, we'll get back into this. It's not going to be next weekend because I've got some stuff going on, but following weekend we should be good for that. Architect Thursdays. So right now we're doing RCT2 on Sundays and Parkitect on Thursdays. We'll see if that continues. I expect it to. Just for this weekend, we may be interrupted. I think I may still be able to do Parkitect Thursdays for this week. Maybe. We're halfway through one of the campaigns, so we'd like to keep that going. I also do have a number of models that I've been wanting to build for a while that one of these days we need to get going on. And now that I have the webcam, which was what that was for, to replace the old one, we can do those models again. I don't have any readily available, but yeah, actually, so like building like these guys, the nano coaster models. I've got a couple of these to build, and then I've got a couple of the wood models as well. So that could be a weekday stream perhaps later on, so we'll see. But anyway, follow the channel here for those updates for when we go live. I do have my YouTube channel that I haven't updated in way more than I probably should care to admit for a while, but we're going to get back to regular uploads on that soon. And if you join the Discord, that's where we talk through all kinds of stream updates and just general conversation and all that, so come hang out. But yeah, I think that's it for today. Thank you guys very much for coming by. Thank you, Marcel, for the raid, and everybody from Marcel's stream for coming by and all those follows and everything. Always great to have you come around. He and I are very different as far as build style goes and everything, but it's kind of neat to see different varieties of how people approach the game. So always cool stuff. But anyway, thank you all very much for watching. We will catch you next time, and have a great night. Thank you. Bye, guys.